What's going on, everybody? This is your main man, Brother Saeed. I'm the co-writer of the film. We're coming to get our check. One of the executive producers, assistant director, and I'm just so excited today to have the defense team on. And I think it's important for me to introduce the defense team because the team we put together and the people I brought on, I'm excited about, and I'm more than confident that they're going to do everything that I've asked them to do, far as selling the story to America. And what I'm going to do is I just want y'all to go right down the road. You go first, Patrick. You go next, Vanessa, and then you go third. Just introduce yourself and tell the people a little bit about yourselves.
Hi, thank you. My name is Patrick Ferrara. I'm originally from New York City, born and raised on the Lower East Side many years ago. I'm not going to say how many years ago. Relocated to North Carolina about 30 years ago. In New York, I was involved in theater and independent films, got into Equity and Screen Actors Guild. Came to North Carolina about 30 years ago, took a little leave of absence in acting. But about 12, 15 years ago, I started up again. I met Saeed at a film that he was doing, and we got to be friends. And then he put me in a few productions and plays, and it's been a great relationship since. This particular part that I'm playing is very interesting because I'm the senior defense attorney for the United States of America in a big case that against Black people who want reparations. We are totally against it. The defense team is totally against it. And it's a shame because in the past, in civil and criminal court, my character has defended Blacks in court, civil and criminal court, for a number of things, and well-deserved. They're well-deserved in this. But this particular issue, no, I'm sorry. We are adamant about not giving reparations.
Okay, now, and I want to say this, like I said, me and Patrick met long, back in the day. Like I said, I was getting out here doing my films. I met Patrick, and this is the one thing I want to say about Patrick forever. If I move further, when I would bring him a script, he would read the script and he would say, "Hey, Saeed." Yeah, actually, he directed one of my short films. Bully. He directed one of my short films. But the one thing I can say about Patrick is when he reads the script, he analyzes the script, he critiques the script, and when he come back with you, he have questions that will make you really want to become a better screenwriter. And I want to thank you for that.
Oh, totally welcome. Totally welcome.
Yeah. Now we're going to move on to Miss Vanessa Neff. I met her through Patrick, and there isn't really much I can say. So I want to thank you for coming on board. And if Patrick recommended you, I know you're going to do a great job. So tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the character. Then, we'll move on.
All righty. Well, I'm originally from the Chicago area, and I kind of went from there to Michigan, to Tulsa, Oklahoma, St. Louis, Myrtle Beach, Richmond, and I landed in the Raleigh area back in 1996. So I've found the place that I love calling home, and I'm glad to be here. I had an epiphany a few years ago when my mother passed away, and I decided to reinvent myself. I previously had been a stay-at-home mom and then a realtor, and I just realized that it was time for me to get busy and live life and start checking the boxes, because if I didn't do it, there wasn't any magic wand that was going to come and hit me on the head. And so I got a portfolio, I signed with an agency, and I've been acting and modeling full-time for the past couple of years.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And like I said, I don't know a lot about Vanessa, but there's one thing I do know. She's read this script because she She'd send me notes and ask me questions. So, and I want to say this. This is probably the first project out of the many I done shot over what 15, 16, maybe 20 films. I've been over 20 film festivals. I done a lot of stuff, but this is probably this is the first production, whereas I had a team to come together. We done did like 7, 8, 9 rewrites on this script, and actors and actresses that will call me and suggest things and ask me about things and things that are real relevant to this story. And like I said, I want to appreciate y'all for that, because when people call you and ask you questions and ask you to clarify things, that means they're reading the script and they're taking this story serious. So I just want to thank y'all for that. Now, the next person I'm got on is Ronald Lavender Jr. I call him all out. But before we get started, I want to tell you a little story about this brother. We were shooting a film, and I was running a little bit over schedule. So I get a call, and all I'm going to say is this: the man threatened me. And we're going to leave it at that. So Ronald, tell me a little bit about yourself.
What a beautiful segue to getting me to talk. That's what happens when you're a Giants fan and your director's a Cowboys fan. Cowboys fan, yeah. So my name is Ronald Lavender Jr. Everyone knows me as RL. Born in Philadelphia, raised predominantly in Brooklyn. I've been living in North Carolina as of the other day, 14 years. Been doing a lot of acting, playwright, directing. I actually met Patrick through something at the Cultural Arts Center. He is a phenomenal teacher, acting coach, and I got to work with him in a couple of things that he directed and as well. And we kind of met at the Call Clue for Robin. Yeah, we did a play together. And,
12 Angry Men.
Yeah, 12 Angry Men. I got to know him real well. He's a phenomenal person to work with, and so I'm excited to work with him again. It's been a long time, and meeting Vanessa for the first time. So this is a great story to tell. I play Brian Booker, work under the defense team, and this is an exciting story to tell that's not being told. So I'm glad I'm a part of something that needs to be told, even not in its full fashion. At least we can get the court process, something that's you're not going to see on non-law and order type stuff. You get to see the actual process in which something is presented.
I'm gonna put Vanessa right there for a second. I talked to Vanessa and said, listen, Patrick told me about you. I got the script I want you to read. And she said, send it over and let me read it. So when she read it, she said, Brother Saeed, Mr. Wright, I'm not that type of person. I don't want to be looked at like that. And I was like, Vanessa, this is like taking your acting skills to another level, because and I said, far as film go and theater go, you want people to look at you like that, because that means you sold your story. Because before we even got to this point with Patrick and RL, and when we was doing the little promos, people was actually emailing me saying, who is these people? They said, why are you creating this disturbance? Especially with RL, and with you and with LaTanya and with Jeff and Bray. They said, who are these people? And I had to actually tell them, yo, this is a film we're working on. Because they was getting really upset with me, talking about, man, and this is my white friends from New Jersey and my black friends from New Jersey. They're like, man, what? We thought we was better than that. You hate white people now? And my black friends was like, yo, Saeed, we didn't even know you got down like that. I said, dude, it's a film. I said, but we're telling a real story here. And the only way we can get this across to people is we have to present it like that. Because if we don't take it serious, what we're doing, they're not going to take it serious. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to move on. And the question is, I'm going to ask, and Vanessa, you can go first. Then we go with RL. Then we go with Patrick. How important is it for us as a team to sell this story?
Well, I think that it will open a dialogue so that people can start discussing this because, you know, I mean, we all live in these different worlds in our own little compartments, and I think some people haven't thought about it, haven't even considered the fact that this is a thing. So I think that this will bring that out into the open and people can start talking about it and having some opinions, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm gonna ask you this good question before we move on. From your perspective, from your upbringing up to now, you know what I mean, and we all that have seen it all on TV, we didn't all and probably heard it, but when we doing this film, I know you read the script. How important is it for you to say, I have to sell, was it Lori Wilson? Can we change your name?
Lisa Wilson.
I have to sell Lisa Wilson on these people. How important is that to you?
Well, it's critical. If I signed on, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it as best as I can. And this person has to be believable and has to work hard to present the case and make sure that everybody understands what it is that our message that we're trying to get out.
Okay, now I'm gonna move on at this. Now, how tough? I mean, being you know, through our conversation, how tough is it for you personally to like play this character, a character that you don't really deep down inside don't really or didn't really want to connect with?
Well, I think I told you before that, you know, I had actually turned down a film that I had been offered because they had wanted me to portray an individual who fit into their storyline of where they were trying to go. But, you know, I didn't look at me. I am like the whitest white woman that has walked the face of the earth. You know, I mean, I don't want to be the face of racism though, because that's, like you said, it's not in my heart. So, you know, I have to think about, you know, what is this person representing? So, I mean, but as I got to know the character and talking with you and Patrick, I'm like, okay, I see that this is part of the story that has to be told so that it can all be told, because you can't do it without that part. So I think that it's a great opportunity also for me to, you know, expand my acting and try to portray someone that maybe I am uncomfortable with, but
That's
it's a good thing.
But I think, you know, more on the defense side than the plaintiff side is definitely uncomfortable because of the questions that are being thrown at y'all, and not just it's not just your answers you give, it's your body, it's what your body gonna give off from these questions that are thrown out to y'all. You know what I'm saying? And that's the toughest part, like I said, for with the defense, because you're called the defense for a reason. You're defending, you know, a conversation that has a lot of merit, and y'all have to, you know, do your best to prove these truths wrong. So we're gonna move on to RL, and RL, you're playing Brian Booker. And at first, and my friend, when we said you was a sellout, my friend said, no, he's not a sellout. My friend said, who co-wrote this, said he's a product of that environment that wanted to, you know, that black person that wanted the white picket fence, you know what I mean, the good job and the great life. And he said you lived that. You went to school and you live in your American dream. But on the flip side of that, you as a black person are defending a country that has, you know, pretty much set your race back. So how do you feel about that? And what did you think when, because when I asked him to play the character, he said, brother Saeed, me, Mr. Black Power. He said, man, I said, but listen, this gives you a chance, like I told Vanessa, to take your acting, you know, to another level and let people see that you're versatile. So go ahead, Ronald, speak on that.
Well, originally, when you asked me, I was kind of hesitant, but because I try to be a culturally sound person since I do community activism and, you know, work with young men, and my poetry reflects what my people, you know, what our people have gone through here in this country and throughout history. So I like stretching myself as an actor and taking on new roles and taking on things that can be considered a challenge. Now, I will disagree with Glenn in terms of, I think he is a sellout because in a lot of people's eyes, that's just what he is. He's considered the Uncle Tom. Now, there's nothing wrong with him have gone to a new school. I don't think he should apologize for his parents or his family. Or he might have been the first one in his family. Brian might be someone who's the first one in his family to go to college. Or he may have grown up in a certain particular neighborhood or culture and community, and that was off-putting to him. Maybe he saw some things that was offensive to him, and he decided, look, when I get here, I'm going to get out the hood. I'm not never coming back. But I think he should come back to give back and to uplift and say, okay, I'll come from the dirt, but I was able to put on my bootstraps, go to college, go to a fine school, and I'm going to come back to my community and serve and help others and push others to seek higher education and finance and ownership and having your own. But instead, Brian is no different than those defense attorneys who defend killers or rapists or drug dealers, people that they're doing it to get their check, which is kind of ironic when one of those lines we know is him taunting the defense with, "Oh, you coming to get your check?" You know, which is the title of the film. So I think it's important that people see both sides to see how they're going to figure him out. Is Brian a sellout, or is he just representing good law, and is he representing the law despite his color? Doesn't matter what color is. Is he just a good attorney? How are people going to see him? How are whites going to see him, as well as how blacks going to see him? Because everybody's going to look at Brian, and everybody's think that the black community it's just going to be their thoughts on him. But I think we need to look at the overall perspective of how everyone sees Brian.
Well,
and is he subservient? Is he subservient to Patrick's character? Does he feel like he stands? You know, I'm part of the team, but I'm just as brilliant. I'm just as intelligent. I'm able to speak for the law and speak for the team. You know.
Well, I think that when you talk about like the black people looking at it, I think this film is about people forming their own, I don't want to say opinion, decision. Or we do reparation, or you a sellout because you're defending America. Is Vanessa this all white person that want to defend America? Is Patrick this because he's Jewish? They be like, how can the Jewish be in the stand here talking about black people don't deserve reparation, and nobody had benefited more from reparations than the Jews? You know what I mean? So these are all the questions that are going to come out. People going to be having in their mind. But my question to you is, this character that you're playing, what is this character going to put out to convince the people during that trial that he's just doing his job?
His knowledge of the law, his knowledge of that 14th Amendment and what it applies to as far in terms of what his attitude deserves got nothing to do with it as applied to the law. And I think people are going to give, you say you want people to give their viewpoint, but more or less, what is their decision toward him? I think people are just going to give their opinion in general. People have a generalized outwardly opinion. If they're white people that are driving by and they come to a stoplight and they see a cop car pulling over a black person in a fancy car, there are some whites they're going to say, oh, he must have broke the law, or he might be a drug dealer because it's a fancy car. Not that he's just a hardworking individual who drives a Porsche. Just because he's in a jumpsuit, a sweatsuit doesn't mean he's a drug. He could be just coming from the gym, or that's just what he wanted to put on. So that's a varying opinion. Just like you might see a black person may see a white person do something, and their immediate reaction is, oh, that's how they're white people. They're just not going to support me because and everyone's always going to have a varying opinion about something. So I think I'm not really concerned about what people's opinion is going to be, because they're going to already, the moment they see me with Patrick and the young lady, they're automatically going to say he's a sellout. And that's just how it is. And I think whites will see that too. So, oh man, they got a black guy. Look at that strategy. There's going to be so many different viewpoints that it's not going to matter. The first sight is just, that's just how our brains are trained to think. We see something and we automatically go to some form of opinion. So I'm not too worried about how people are going to think about Brian Booker. I just want I want to be able to portray him in a way that is supposed to draw a reaction, not just my appearance of this black man, but what I say in the script.
Okay. And that's what's up. But in closing with that, and let me get with Pat so we get to the next question. Even when you're speaking to the judge council and your whole conversation is about America. So not them just looking at you. Your conversation is going to make them feel that way even more, because you're defending a country that has consistently over the years looked at you and your culture, your race, as second-class citizens.
It's going to look like a conflict of interest, but he's
doing his job.
Someone has to actually say, well, he's doing his job. That's why I brought up defense attorneys who defend drug dealers. If someone's got to do disposition, and you can't worry about, well, is this my duty versus my morals? Right. You know what I mean? And so those are going to look at Brian and say, man, he's talking about America. He doesn't care about black folk in America. He's just talking about America, America and the law.
We're going to move on to Patrick. Patrick is the lead attorney, and his name is Patrick Feinberg. He's Jewish, and he's that guy that wears America on his sleeve, period. There's nothing you can say to him that will make him think America is guilty of anything. So Patrick, tell us a little bit about your character, what you take from the script and what you take from being that character, the lead defense attorney, Patrick Feinberg.
Yeah, it's very interesting listening to my team, because the original question is, how does the team going to portray themselves and represent America in the film? It's very interesting. It's tremendously good that they have their own conflicts as actors. They have their own personal conflicts in approaching the character. And I do too, because I don't believe everything. My position is that you guys do deserve reparations for all the goddamn problems that you've had all for 300-400 years. However, I represent the lead of the team. So as an actor, I love that they have their conflicts, but what I want them to, and me to understand, is there's a line between we are representing America, and as attorneys, we want to win.
Right.
We want to win. And we have the numbers on our side. America has more in agreement to our point of view than the other point of view. So whatever conflicts you have as a team, we are going to win. And there's a whole bunch of words that I can throw out as a team: pride, anger, justification, that we have to show the audience, because if we don't believe that we're going to win, the audience is going to smell that, and they're going to see that we're kind of just saying the words, that we don't believe what we're saying, that we don't believe we're right. So that's what our team has to show, that we believe we're right.
Okay, now Now, being this lead character, and Patrick Feinberg being the lead character, um, and I'm listening to what you said about when your attitude is that whatever you need to do far as presenting your case, you need to do it to win. So how would Patrick Feinberg, if I was to ask Patrick Feinberg and say, Patrick, what do you need? What is your attitude on winning? What would you say? And you just gave us like a little snippet about winning. What would you say?
I would kind of, the biggest thing is these three plaintiffs, these attorneys, they're not, they're insurance attorneys. They're insurance attorneys. They're not steep. They just took on this job because they're kind of, they fell into it. The Fourth and the Fifth and 14th Amendment, they read up on it and they kind of know what to say. But they're not attorneys like we are. So our argument is going to show that they are just out to make a quick buck. And it's beautiful writing. I love that. They're out to make a quick buck. They're ambulance chases. Bottom line, they're ambulance chases. And we're going to try and convince the judges to look at that, to really look at that. And our argument is going to be whatever they say. No, we have the counter argument, not the counter argument. We have the argument that's been proved many, many times in history.
Okay.
We're not giving reparations. You can't prove just because you have Black ancestors that they were all slaves.
Okay.
How can you prove that?
Okay. And I like that. So I'm gonna close with this question. And everybody, y'all gave me two great questions. The question to you, Patrick, is just tell me, how important is it to sell this story?
Oh, tremendously. But it's a great piece of writing. It's a great topic of discussion. It could really fly. I mean, if all six of us are all involved in it, don't just read the words on the page and really believe them and live them and defend them and justify them. I mean, it's a great personal conflict, a great battle. It'll be great acting and great writing and a lot of on camera nuanced looks at each other. So it'll be a lot of sarcasm, it'll be a lot of anger, there'll be a lot of justification, a lot of cerebral talking, and it'll just be fascinating. But everybody's got to not just read the words on a page. They got to really live them. They got to live them. They got to believe in them.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I think the team that we have is going to do that. Well, I don't even think the team that we have is going to do it. I know the team that we have is going to do it because, like I said earlier, is that people are hitting me up. The cast is hitting me up saying, "Hey, man, we need let's tighten this up. Let's do this. I have this question. I have that question." And like I said, I never got that before. So we're going to move on to the next question, and we're going to keep them a little bit short because I know we got a time constraint here. But RL, you're going to go first, and I want everyone to listen. Or do you think this film would change people's views on reparation for Black Americans?
It depends. It depends on how you feel about this country. It depends on how you feel about the treatment of African Americans throughout the years, whether you care, because racism is never going to die. It's always going to exist. It's always going to be here because, you know, that's just how it is. It's just something that was birthed and created. Racism was created in this country. It's always going to exist because we're in 2021 and we're still hearing the first African American women to, the first African American man to. They're just now allowing opportunities in 2021, and we're supposed to be hundreds of years old. And so I don't know if the tide can be turned toward anyone. Maybe our young people who are millennials who are just learning about, who were in the fight when all the protests were going on last year in 2020, and maybe they can lead that charge. But I think once you hear Jeffrey Wall's performance as the lead attorney for those fighting for Blacks, yeah, I think there was some who think a little bit different But those who have their mind set in stone, who have been taught to believe a certain thing, no, they're not going to believe it. But yeah, it needs to be told anyway. So it's regardless of whether how, you know.
Yeah. And you know what? I've been selling this lately. This is my what if project. And the people like, what if, what if Malcolm had to live and been able to, take his case before the world court? You know what I mean? What if? So, and this is like my tribute to him and all those before him up to this point, saying, we're going to present a case, and people, and I, like you said, once people see it, hear it, and become part of it, it's going to be a great topic of discussion. It's going to be. So, Patrick, we'll come to you next, and the same question is, how do you think this film will change people's views on reparation for Black Americans?
Well, reparations, yeah, it's personally, I don't think it's going to make a big impression about reparations, but it is going to, if it's done correctly, it is going to stimulate thoughts about it, because the political climate out there, reparations comes way down on the bottom.
Right.
I mean, what's happening in the world now, the voting rights is going to be, they're conniving all states to count the votes by whoever wants to count the votes. You understand what's going on? I mean,
Yeah.
it's the political climate, but this film could nudge some type of thought process.
Yeah, yeah. And they asked Obama, why didn't he ever bring reparations to the table? He said, and he said in his own way, it's like, for what? He said that would be an argument that we would lose, and that's going to be an argument that's going to be probably going on forever. So he said, why should I put people through that? And he said, for me as a president, and for me as a Black man, something that America isn't really ready to relinquish, meaning, saying that they owe us reparation, or we do reparation. You know what I mean? But I like what you said, that, but the bottom line is this, that we can this film is just going to just create a conversation. And it's going to create a conversation where people can't deny the facts. You know what I mean? So Vanessa, give us your take on that.
Well, like I said before, I think, and like what Patrick and you just said, that it's going to open a lot of dialogue about it and get people to talk about it that maybe hadn't talked about it before, and to think about it. And it's going to be for me, when I read the script, there were a lot of things I went, I didn't know that. So I go back and I, Google, I'm like, did that happen? What? So, for me, I'm learning a whole lot from this. And I think that that's one good thing that's going to come out, is that a lot of people are going to go, really? I didn't know about that. So I think that that's going to help people to learn a lot about the things that have happened in the past, and that why the request for reparations is something that people are asking for.
When I approached my partner Glenn, which is a co-writer, and I tell people, I'm not a Black historian. I can't go back and tell you about all this stuff, but I can tell you about. I'm 64 years old. We all old enough to know we can talk about stuff that we have witnessed and that we have seen stuff in the last couple of years. But the information that I didn't know about that's in this script, it's crazy, because if I hadn't sat down and talked with Glenn about this stuff that's in the script, I still probably wouldn't know. But like he said, Saeed, the bottom line is all you got to do is read. Everything is on Google. But I'm learning now, and I have to do research now because of the subject matter that we're dealing with. So when somebody asks me something now, I have to know, because I don't want them to say, well, you just doing that because you're trying to whatever, trying to make up $1, you're trying to start something. No, I'm doing it now, and I brought y'all on as a team because we're doing it now to get a conversation out there that should be in everybody's ears, on everybody's lips every day, until everything is, till Black people get their due. And I think the team, like I said before, the team that we have, I ain't got no no doubts in my mind that we are going to put together a great piece. So the last question, and we'll start with you first, Vanessa. How challenging is it for you to play this character, play your character?
Well, it's going to be a challenge for me, but I'm looking forward to being able to put that out there and develop that personality of this Lisa Wilson and bring it to the courtroom and absolutely make them understand what it is that I'm trying to get across to them. And that is that, you know, America has already done lots for Black people, and why should we do more?
Okay, and I got Jeffrey Wall just coming on. I was trying to get Tony Brawley to come in, but I can't undo his audio for some reason. He having a problem with audio. So Patrick, we're gonna move to you, and I'm gonna ask you that same question. How challenging is it for you to play your character? And before you answer, let me say this. Yeah, I don't know how challenging it would be for him to play this character, but I will say this. The day he show up on set, he might be too prepared. And I'm saying that as a joke.
Okay, I don't know what the joke was, but
Well, only reason I'm saying you might be too prepared is like when I see you do your theater, when I see you do your poetry, you really get into it. You really get into it because of your the way you speak. So when you come prepared when you come on set to play this character, I just know that I'm going to be like, well, damn, he definitely did what I asked him to do, and I appreciate you for that, because like you said, this is like a big transition for you, a very big transition. So how do you how challenging is it for you to play this character?
I don't think it's too challenging. I played different roles before. I played a principal, I played a father, I played a murderous drug dealer, and I'm not too worried about the challenge. I just want to be able to present it in a way that Brian leaves people thinking about. He's in the background, he's an afterthought, or he's just the Uncle Tom, that he knows what he's talking about when he's presenting his points in court. So it's not, and it's not that much of a challenge in theory of can I bring the energy and the discipline. I think the challenge is it somebody that's people really going to take his side when they watch it, or they're going to, is he going to help the team convince them? So when people finish watching this, that he made a good point, so.
That's what's up. Now, Jeffrey Wall, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you. And I know you've been listening in, but he just locked out. But listen, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Patrick. Patrick, I'm gonna let you answer the question. How challenging is it for you to play this character? And then what I'll do is I'll just come back to Jeff Wall and ask him that last question.
Okay.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when I first read the script, because I'm so against giving, I'm for giving reparations. So I was challenged to be the bad guy, so to speak. And I discussed that with you a few lines. I says, can I just make it like, I won, but maybe I didn't win, But now I accept the challenge, and I'm totally on the other side, because I've created the character in my mind that what if this really happened, and I had to win, and I had to have these viewpoints, and I believe in everything now. I believe it because there's a CNN point of view, there's an MSNBC point of view, and then there's Fox News point of view. I would have never been a Fox News point of view, but now I am. if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. So,
So I'm on the Fox News point of view.
okay, so we got through the questions and we get ready to move on a little bit. So is there anything, anybody, Patrick, I want your closing thoughts. Vanessa, I want your closing thoughts. Ronald, I want your closing thoughts, and then I'll give mine.
Well, my closing thoughts as an actor is I want this to be one of the best things that all 8, 9, 10 of us have done in a long time. So I want everybody to give it their best shot and make it believable, make it truthful, honest, and bring it. Just bring it. And I love what I hear from Ron and Vanessa about their conflict of interest and everything. That's great. That's great, because we all have conflict of interest in this, but we can put it aside or use it. But the bottom line is we got to win. I'm sorry, we got to win.
Vanessa?
Well, Patrick, you're sounding like quite the coach there. And I think leading the team is going to get us into the proper spirit for this upcoming hearing. I'm realizing that I'm needing to do a little more work on my character's background. And I know that she's kind of morphed from what she was to where she's going. So I'm going to work on that as an actor to give her more substance. And I will be looking forward to portraying someone who's very unlike me, because I'm really kind of a wimpy kind of. So I'm looking forward to getting some fierceness and putting some real brawn into it.
That's what's up.
Good. Yeah.
Ron?
Twofold. I get to say that I was in the presence working with some real people I can draw from: Patrick, Jeffrey, Tony Brawley, who's young but an amazing actor. I've directed him.
Yeah.
And secondfold, mainly, I want people to talk about this. Like we talk about this stuff in social media. We have these long, drawn out conversations on relationships, someone's new album. I hope this becomes a real, like, this thing is shared and people are talking about past social media, that if we get this played in a film festival, we can get this played, that someone from a newspaper, a national publication wants to have a discussion with Larry or talk with Patrick or Jeffrey, their roles in the movie, so that it is still spoken of. Not it isn't just a weekend thing. That after it's produced and after it's performed, after it's put out there, that it stays out there and it continues. The discussion continues to grow, because there are actual groups like ADOS, the American Descendants of Slavery. There are different groups for reparations. So the discussion is not just whether we should have it or not. What kind of reparations? Is it financial? Is it land? Is it laws change? So I hope the discussion becomes discussions as plural, not just singular, that becomes plural.
Okay. And I'm gonna close with this. I'm gonna say this, and I've been saying this since I put this team together. The team that I put together for as a cast, the production, the audio, the sound, is people that I trust will do what we came together to do and create and sell a great story. There's no doubt in my mind that people are going to embrace the story, and that you're going to have people that won't embrace the story. But the bottom line is, my job as a director, as a person that do what I do, is to create dialogue. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, once y'all or the team sells this story, it's going to create great dialogue. And this is and I'm gonna close with this. This is why this story is going to create great dialogue. because in the back of somebody's mind, they're going to say Saeed is the angry black man, and he's blaming white people for everything. And I say that because when we if we're not the victim, if we're not getting beat up, hung, drugged, or whatever, what I mean, the conversation is different. This whole film is about all of that. But the bottom line with this film is nobody's getting hung, nobody's getting lynched, nobody's getting raped, and nobody's getting whipped. We're facing our accusers in a setting where everyone is we're giving every viewer the opportunity to be part of it, because they'll be able to go to their laptops, they'll be able to go to their computers, they'll be able to research the conversation. And but the bottom line, what I want people to do is get on the phone and say, y'all need to check out this film.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to thank all of y'all for coming on. Like I said, I'm gonna put it together, I'm gonna put it on, I'm gonna share it. But I think we need something like this to whet people's appetite, because I'm pushing. And in November, I'm hiring a marketing team to really start pushing this in every which way possible, because my goal is to premiere the film on January the 15th. Not premiere it, to show it January the 15th on ABC My 48. That's the goal. It's going to be just a one-time showing, because I want to let people see what we did. And then if you go to the Facebook reparation page, I got distribution with, just hit the link, you'll see who I'm dealing with. And it's called LUUVR or something like that. I can't think of right off my head, but just go to the reparation page and click the link. You'll see what we're going to be doing on distribution through. I got all that set up. And I'm excited, man. I can't wait for the 4th to get here and we can get started on getting this thing done. And I'm gonna close with this. I'll be reaching out to everybody, getting their September schedule and the November and the October schedule, because the other stuff that we need to go ahead and get shot. So look, I'm gonna close out. I want to thank y'all for coming on, and man, and I really appreciate that. And like I said, in a week or so, we'll have the plaintiffs team on, which is Tanya Sims, Jeffrey Wall, and Tony Brawley. Hey y'all, thank you, and we're out.